Hello, it's my 3 o'clock live on Friday afternoons. I'll see if anybody is going to show up. I just realized I misspelled the title of it. I should have checked it, and I'll have to correct it later, I guess. Um, and I'm going to have to wear my glasses just so I can see comments. Hello, Paul. And while people are entering, I'm gonna just, let's see, it's Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock. I've had a great day so far. Hi, Lance. Um, this is last week on my live stream, somebody asked me how I stayed so positive. I don't know whether they think my life is terrible and how do I get to be so positive? I don't know. But I thought it would be a good thing to talk about today. So I'm gonna give it a couple of minutes before I get started, although we have two people watching, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just go right ahead and start. So the title is supposed to say My Spiritual Journey, How I Stay Positive. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background because I have to explain why. And I don't like wearing my glasses, but I really can't see the comments unless I have them on. They're reading glasses. So, oh well. Um, and I'm gonna try to say all this without naming any names or names of groups or anything like that. And we'll see how that goes. I have a pretty interesting background. So I was born in 1954. And I was the third kid of with three sisters. And my family was extremely religious. We were members of a very strict church. We were not allowed to dance. We did not have, we had singing in our church, but no instruments. So that's how serious it was. And my dad was an elder in this church. And so we went to church twice on Sunday and once on Wednesday nights. And my family was very, very strict. And unfortunately, the church used guilt and shame a lot to control the people in the church, or that's how I felt. I might have been misinterpreting, I don't know, but that's how I felt. So I was a member of that church until I went to college, and a little bit after that, and then I finally left the church. It was very emotional for me. I was a fairly rigorous student of the Bible when I was young. I read the Bible from cover to cover. I memorized my Bible verses, all that kind of stuff. But I will say I don't have a formal diagnosis, but I have a little bit of PTSD from my years going to church. So, and so when see, when was it? It was after I finished school, and I was kind of missing the spiritual life that I had had before, even though didn't want to be in the church. I didn't not, it was around 1978. It was a very interesting time back then. And I had recently gotten married. My husband and I were actually, we weren't married yet. We were dating, and he had just joined a, what do they call it? A spiritual path. It did not call itself a religion, and we weren't interested. He had been Catholic. I wasn't going to name names, but he had been in a church when he was younger, and he had left it also. And he had been a very serious student too. So we kind of had that in common. So we didn't want to go to another religion. So we went to this spiritual path, and um, we joined up, and we were members of it for 36 years. We became clergy members. We could do, we could conduct weddings. We could conduct funerals. We did worship services. And then suddenly this spiritual path kind of turned into a religion. It was kind of like, if it sounds like a religion and looks like a religion, then it really is a religion. And then come to find out, we kind of found out once we were totally immersed in it, that it had kind of been built on plagiarism from other New Age writers at the time, New Thought writers at the time. And that did not set well with us. Plus, part of this was that my husband was an artist. We were trying to make a living in that field, and he was a very good artist. But it was very challenging for us. And we had heard about ways and attitudes that create prosperity, and we were very interested in that. But being a member of that spiritual path, we were not allowed to look at any other ideas. Where with people who were learning how to create prosperity through learning that you create your own reality. And ultimately we did leave that spiritual path, and started looking around in ways to improve our lives. And we got into studying Abraham Hicks and Joe Dispenza, and read books by Neville Goddard and James Allen. And this is interesting because, a little side note, Dr. Kiltz always talks about these people a lot. And one reason I was attracted to doing the coaching program that I did through Dr. Kiltz was because he had done extensive reading and writing about these ideas. So anyway, my husband and I studied these ideas for a really long time. And we did learn how to create prosperity. His art business became a lot more prosperous. We did really well. And with the ideas of that thoughts are things, and that your thoughts can create your reality. So if you think positively and you think positively about prosperity, you can create more prosperity in your life. So, but then a twist in the story, my husband was diagnosed with colon cancer, and he got really sick. And so we decided that we would follow the plan of Dr. Joe Dispenza, which his deal basically is meditating until you get well. And so it's a little more complicated than that, but basically that's what it was. He teaches wellness through meditation. So when my husband was sick, he did not do chemo or radiation or surgery, but we meditated at least 4 hours every single day. He, for a while, seemed like he was getting better, but eventually got sicker, and then he died in 9 months. So I became a widow about 4.5 years ago. Well, it'll be 5 years in November. And basically, when my husband and I were married, he basically did just about everything for me. We were soulmates. We did everything together. He was an artist. I posed for him. We had a very idyllic life. Very idyllic. We were very much in love, and losing him was basically the worst thing that ever happened to me. But because of all my spiritual study, I was determined, like, I am not going to become a wimp. I'm going to be a strong widow. I'm not, I'm going to do because through this study, basically what I learned was it's just really important to do and be the best you possibly can. And that's pretty much the bottom line. You just do the best you can and try to be happy. And that's Abraham's message. Your job is to be happy. If you're happy, good things are going to happen to you because your attitude creates your reality. So I was determined, and I did pretty well, and I continue to do pretty well. But I was not able to meditate anymore. I kind of felt like my husband had put all his eggs in the one basket of meditation and that it had failed him. And I just did not want to rely on meditation for my life anymore. So, my survival strategy was to just be positive. Now, my husband had been an optimist his whole entire life, and he thought that I was just a pessimist. I didn't ever think of myself as a pessimist, but I think he probably was right. It's just that I would always look at what's the worst thing that could happen. So I was always prepared for the worst. And he was like, you just got to be, stay positive. And so he kind of trained me. We were married for 42 years, which is a long time. So he pretty much rubbed off on me. And I really think that that's probably the closest thing to my answer to the person who asked me, how do you stay so positive? Is that the optimism element of the way my husband used to act finally rubbed off on me. Or it's a little bit of all the spiritual journeys that I've taken, especially after I left the church. Abraham and Joe Dispenza and Neville Goddard and James Allen, it's all about that your thoughts and feelings and attitudes create your reality. So if you want to have good things happen to you, you have to feel as if they've already happened. So I've just like made up my mind that I'm going to be positive no matter what. And I think that's pretty much my reasoning. I can't really think anything else. I did write one more thing down. I have a few notes, What's the last thing? Oh, I was going to talk a little bit about the carnivore diet. I had to put my glasses back on so I'll read this right. So, right. So the carnivore diet has given me the strength to be more positive. And I think it's also because I'm so happy about my diet and it makes me feel so good. It's easier to be positive. And I think that when I didn't get to go to this convention that was just happened, the meat stock, where 1,600 um, carnivores got together, all meeting each other and hugging. I would have loved to have gone, and I didn't get to go this year, but maybe, next time. Um, when you see that many carnivores together, they're always so happy because they feel good and they're getting the nourishment that they need to get. And, you know, it's amazing. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons is that is just feeling so good that you're happy, and so it's easier. It's easier to stay positive, certainly on a carnivore diet. Now, there are things that come up in my life, but I have a feeling like they're just going to work out and I'm going to figure it out. And like I've taught my kids, what's the next thing you need to do? When one of my kids was having um, a crisis, you know, she, I don't want to tell on her because everybody knows who she is. But I remember a call, and it was it's the first time I said this to her was when she was in college, and she had her transportation to and from college and her work was her bike. And it was a really nice bike. And she had just gotten it fixed from having a wreck and she had broken her arm. And so she had to go, I think she was stopping for something at Whole Foods and she locked it up outside and ran in. And when she came, and this was in New York City, and when she came back, her bike was gone and she was devastated. And I think, after, we got the news and all that, she called us right away. And I just said, just don't think about it right now. What is your next job? So she went to the police station. She reported it. Anyway, it's just like, what's the next thing you need to do? Don't think about what ifs or oh no or anything like that. Just like, what's the next thing you got to do? When a crisis comes, don't be emotional about it if you can keep from being emotional about it. Just think, what's the next thing that I need to do? Besides being positive, of course. But um, that's pretty much it. I can't believe I thought I would talk for an hour about this. And I also thought that there would be lots and lots of questions, but I guess my friends, I got 3 friends here today. Are there any questions? Nobody's asked a question so far, so I don't know. Well, that is my story. So right now it's just 20 minutes. I think that's good. It's not long because it's not complicated. Just eat a carnivore diet. Um, uh-huh. Lance says he's hiding at work, so he's on the slide. He can't really ask questions or anything. And so, well, that's what I wanted to come on and talk about. Um, and then hopefully after I post this, I can change the spelling back to the correct, um, to correct and um, an almost interesting story. What so weird. It has a dollar sign for some reason. What sort of meditation did you do? Well, so when I was a member of that spiritual path, they were really particular and they didn't call it meditation. They called it contemplation. And it was a little bit more active than meditation. And you mocked up stories in your head. But part of the problem with that spiritual path is that the leader, you had to go through the leader to get to God or spirit. So anyway, when we broke out of that, we did either meditations that were Abraham Hicks kind of meditations, or they were Joe Dispenza meditations. And sometimes they were an hour long. Most of the time they were an hour long, and they were narrated by Joe Dispenza. And we would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, because 4 o'clock in the morning is supposedly the best time to meditate. And you know what I do now instead of meditation? Because I just felt like meditation was a failure for us and for me. Um, in the spiritual path, you were supposed to be able to soul travel, and I was never successful at that. I always felt like I was a failure at it, and pretty much the same way with meditation. I always felt like a failure. Now I read fiction. I will admit my guilty pleasure of what has replaced meditation for me is reading good fiction. I never read fiction before. I was always such a serious student that I read only books about, I read nonfiction about spiritual things, or nutrition, diet, wellness, lifestyle. Then that's all I read. And after my husband died, to keep from getting lonely, and my sister suggested, and she gave me 4 or 5 books right away, and I started reading, and it was like, this is how I want to spend my spare time. So that is what I do. Instead of meditation, I read fiction. Um, Yeah, Paul says that he did transcendental meditation. Yes, my husband did that too. TM, that's what he called it, TM, and he had been, before we were in that spiritual path, he had done TM, and he was a very serious student of it. Um, so yeah, but yeah, I read fiction and I love it, and it's just about as good. I feel just as good reading fiction as I ever did meditating. And supposedly, when you read fiction, or if you're a reader, you live longer. You're better able to never be. That's a boy, a lot of negative words I'm trying to say. You don't get dementia if you read. If you read fiction, you don't get. It staves off dementia. So you stay a healthy brain. You stay a healthy brain. Yes. So um, I was going to talk a little bit about language. I kind of forgot about that. I love thinking about language. And what I like about it is I read a book called Conscious Language, I think it was called. I don't remember the guy's name. But it's like when you speak only in positive ways and you refrain from using negatives. So I could have said, when you really try to be positive in your speech and you don't say negative things. But instead, I said, when you try to speak positively and you refrain from saying negative things. So you rearrange your words so that the word not and is 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 left out of your vocabulary. There we go. Yeah. So okay. So maybe, just maybe it must be time to get off of here, and be finished with my live for the afternoon. I really appreciate you coming. Like I said, I have a health coaching certification from Dr. Kiltz, and that means I'm a health coach. I have um, a group that meets on Thursday nights, 7 Eastern. It's called Brisket Boomers Community. And we meet and talk about the carnivore diet. We talk about blood sugar and how keeping our blood sugars in a healthy level, and what we can do to um, keep our blood sugars in a healthy level, and how we can become very insulin sensitive. And that's what the group we study that, and we implement many things like more exercise and eating the carnivore diet and other things, and we share those on a WhatsApp group. And it's you join for the month, and then at the end of the month you join for the next month if you want to stay. So if you would like to do that, if you're interested in that, you have to like get in touch with me either on YouTube or Instagram, or Facebook Messenger is probably the best place to find me and message me for that. I will be putting a page up on my website, which is amyfieldsperrin.com. On my website, you can see how I spell my name now, and the Fields, Fields, is between the Amy and Perrin, so it's Amy Fields Perrin. Um, oh, good afternoon. Oh, hi, Jerry. Hi. Um, so you can message me on Instagram or Facebook or here, and I will show you how to join the group. And then I also do individual coaching too. So the same thing, just get in touch with me. Oh, I know what I was going to say. My website is going to be, in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be fixed so you can just automatically join. You can buy in on the website. So that would be a lot easier. I also am an artist, and I sell my paintings on my website. And if you contact with me, I will give you a big sale for my paintings. Just contact with me. Look at the paintings on the website under paintings, a page on my website called paintings, and let me know which ones you want. And because I'm having a big sale, I am trying to um, raise money to get my car and its inspection sticker. That was something that I could have been really upset about. Although I thought there was going to be a lot of things wrong with my car, and it's a lot of money for me, but it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So I need to raise some money to get my car fixed. So if you can help me out with that, that'd be awesome. So you can join my group or buy paintings from me. You might like them. There's a few that are carnivore. They're mostly coffee and tea, little still lives, and they're a lot of fun. So, and right now they are just $25 and $45 instead of 200 and 300. So that's what they say on the website. So don't buy on the website, even though you can, and I'll be happy to take it. But if you want to get in touch with me and tell me which ones you would like to buy, that'd be awesome. So those are the oh, and one more thing. If you want to be a health coach like me and you want to start making a living as a health coach, if you put my code, if you go to Dr. Kill's, I think, what is it? Is it drkills.com? We look up Dr. Kills and how to become a health coach. And if you use the code Amy, AIMEE 10, you can get 10% off of the coaching course. So I wanted to say that today. Just came back from yes. Well, I really like this place. I feel blessed. I really like this car place that I found. I found it on my own. I was so proud of myself because, when I was married for 42 years to this guy who wanted to do everything he could for me. So I never got a car repaired. I never took the garbage out. I never did any of those manly things. So I had to learn all that stuff when he died. And I found this car place because I went on the Facebook page of my community and I asked, I want to get my car fixed. I need an inspection sticker. And I got several recommendations for this one place. And it's way out of town. It's in the next town, but it's like 7 whole miles away, which is a lot in Maine. And but it was definitely, they were really nice. They didn't charge me anything for giving me the estimate. And they are definitely not overcharging me for what needs to be done to my car. So I'm feeling really good about that, but I am trying to raise some money to get my car fixed. And I'm really excited because then I'll be legal. I've been driving with an expired inspection sticker. When I was a kid, we called them brake tags. And so every time I say the word inspection sticker, it's really hard to say because I want to just call it a brake tag. And I don't know why it was ever called that, but it was when I was a kid. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Jerry. Yeah. So, you guys, are there any questions about anything I talked about? Any questions about the carnivore diet? Any questions about anything? It's really cool. I did not talk about being a type 1 diabetic. I didn't talk about my age. I I must be in a good mood. I'm feeling really positive and happy. My my granddaughter told me the other day that I was jolly, that I reminded her of Mrs. Claus, Santa's wife. Isn't that the funniest thing you've ever heard? It was pretty funny. Um, Thank you, Jerry. You have a good weekend too. Yeah, Friday night, go out and have some fun with someone you love. That's, yep. So I will end it here. If if you listen to this and if you listen in the future, please like and possibly subscribe to my channel so you can get notified when I do when I put other videos up, and because it would really help me out. So I really appreciate you coming on today, and thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye bye.